All right, let's get it. It is really the home to prison pipeline. That's what it really is. Yeah, it's really the home to prison pipeline. Can we say former vice president, or do we got to wait till next year? Former vice president Kamala Harris was. All right, let's get it. It is really. She was on to something. She was definitely on to something. Okay, she was trying to resolve two things: truancy and recidivism. So, truancy is the action of staying home, the action of staying away from school without good reason. Absenteeism. That's what they call it. Absenteeism. That's what they call it. All right. Okay. Recidivism is the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. What does these two have in common? Truancy and recidivism. What do they have in common? How can a kid stay home without a good reason, staying home from school, staying away from school without a good reason, how can that relate to a criminal, a reoffending criminal? All right. Let we can say former Vice President Kamala Harris answer that. Okay. Where's my sound? Come on, sound. What they say? Sound don't fail me now. Come on.
Elementary school truancy. So what am I talking about?
So we have something called elementary school truancy. That's wild. So you would think, from the definition I read from truancy, you would think that's a high school problem, right? Elementary. Kids not going to school. Elementary school.
In San Francisco a few years ago, we had a rash of homicides, the highest we had experienced in decades. So every one of us in city leadership was concerned, and I asked a staff member, go out and do an assessment and tell me who were our homicide victims who were under the age of 25 when they were killed. And the data came back, and it included the fact that 94% of those homicide victims were high school dropouts. So then I went over to the school district and I asked the superintendent at the time, what's going on? And she said, Kamala, well, of the few number of children we have in the San Francisco Unified School District, 5,500 have been designated as habitually and chronically truant. And of the 5,500, 2,400 are elementary school students. So I asked the superintendent to convene a meeting for me with all of the principals and administrators of the school district. Elementary school truancy.
It's crazy. There's such thing called that.
And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime.
Me too.
So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
What do we do accountable?
Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned because we didn't know at the time whether I was going to have an opponent in my reelection race. But I said, look, I'm done. This is a serious issue, and I've got a little political capital, and I'm going to spend some of it. And this is what we did.
What's that?
We recognized that in that initiative, as a prosecutor and law enforcement, I have a huge stick. The school district has got a carrot. Let's work in tandem around our collective objective and goal, which is to get those kids in school. And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy.
Good idea.
This was a little controversial in
It
San
shouldn't
Francisco.
have been. That's a good idea.
So I sent a letter out on my letterhead to every parent in the school district, outlining the connection that was statistically proven between elementary school truancy, high school dropouts, who will become a victim of crime, and who will become a perpetrator of crime. We sent it out to everyone. A friend of mine actually called me and he said, Kamala, my wife got the letter. She freaked out. She brought all the kids into the living room, held up the letter, said, if you don't go to school, Kamala's going to put you and me in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we achieved intended effect.
That's right.
And here's what we also did. We created what we call the DA mediation program, where we assigned prosecutors to go and sit with the administrators and principals when they met with all the parents. And frankly, you know the prosecutors in my office who volunteered to do this? My homicide prosecutors, my gang prosecutor. So I sent
Technical difficulty, real fast. Hold, please. I was hoping I didn't do this, but it did. Just need a faster. Well, I'm using an old desktop. Anyway, let's get it.
And through that initiative, we found cases like the case of the woman who was by herself, raising her 3 children, holding down 2 jobs, and homeless.
Why would a woman put herself in a position to have 3 kids and be single, have to work 2 jobs that results in homelessness? Why put the kids in that position when you have a plethora of birth control options? If you're not financially fit, if you're not mentally capable of having children in a family, nuclear family setting, you might want to wait until you are. That's men and women. Because as a result, you can be this lady that Kamala Harris, former president, Vice President Kamala Harris is speaking of. Single parent, 3 kids. So when did he leave? After the 3rd kid? Like, when did this, who knows how many baby daddies? But let's assume one father, right? Things would go right. They were married. Let's play make believe. They were married too. And the divorce happened. He left somehow. And she ended up with the kids. And she has to work 2 jobs, right? To maintain 3 kids. Now she's homeless. I don't know how. I don't know how that's possible, right? How you can be homeless with 2 jobs. I just don't know how that's possible. I really don't. Like, somebody got to make that mix. That math ain't math. But anyway, let's go on with the story. Peace, said Breeze. So now I believe Kamala is very brilliant, very wise, very educated for what her role was, right? As a DA of California, is she the best fit to be a president of the United States? I personally don't think so. But everything else, I think she's a good fit for. She's qualified for those positions. But to lead this country that's very aggressive, very progressive, I don't think, maybe as an advisory or something like that, she's just good at strategizing. Somehow part of the cabinet, maybe Trump could have hired her for something else. I think that'd have been wise because she's very, very brilliant. But do I think she should be commander in chief? No, 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 no. And you got Russia pump faking now. Just imagine if she was in office. Russia be flying type of damn missiles over here or threatening to. Anyway, let's continue. We're talking about truancy and recidivism, which are major components in our youth going astray.
She just needed some help. But by shining this infrared spotlight of public safety.
So the criticism she got for being tough on parents, which every state, every city should adopt, hold these deadbeats accountable. Um, she was able to resolve an issue. They was able to highlight because they seen some kids not going to school consistently, and homelessness is a legitimate or excusable reason why kids miss school. And by the way, truancy that's a real law. That's not something she made up. It's illegal. Truancy is illegal. I think all 50 states, I believe. I could Google it. I think all 50 states truancy is illegal. So by her enforcing, just like jaywalking is illegal, but by Kamala Harris enforcing this, by Kamala Harris enforcing this, they were able to resolve this homeless two-job working lady problem.
On the fact that her children aren't in school. We were able.
So yeah, peace. SMS. This is for you. I watched your boy I watched him earlier. So that's what helped me inspire to do this video so early. Well, I really want to go earlier. I really want to start at 11 a.m. But whatever. I'm doing it now.
Able to figure that out. Get her access to services that exist. And through that process, the attendance of her children improved. We dismissed the charges against her, and overall, we've improved attendance for this population in San Francisco by 20% over the last 2 years. So, in the beginning, some would say, why are you dealing with that? We've got serious crime to deal with. Well, I would suggest to you that being smart on crime means realizing we cannot accept false choices. And through that initiative.
So again, truancy is the action of staying away from school without good reason, absenteeism, which is illegal, it's against the law, and we got recidivism, which is the tendency of a convicted criminal to reoffend. So Kamala is connecting the dots between kids who stay home without a good reason to criminals, but they're not just criminals, we're talking about reoffending criminals, right? That's what we're talking about. Oh, hold on. Yeah, go bathroom. All right, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get back to what we're doing. Matter of fact, I'll just play it. I wouldn't be present, but whatever. Let's get it. Shit, what the hell?
Since 1980, California's population grew about 50%, but our prison population grew at a staggering 617%. The average prison sentence in California is 24 months. I'll get back to that fact later. 120,000 people are released from California prisons every year because they have served their time, but within 3 years of their release, 70% of them reoffend. That's called recidivism. California prisoners are released with $200 and a bus ticket, and they're sent back home. Meanwhile, they have no skills, no education, no work, and little to lose, and the only thing that has changed since they went to prison is that they've been in prison. And for all of this, we, as Californians, pay over $10 billion a year. Since 1980,
Give me a second to get the next few videos in order. All right, we're back. We're back. We're back. Let's get the audio right. Let's get the audio right. Fucking computer. I got my laptop fixed, man. This desktop really ain't it. It's really not. All right. So okay. So what are we doing? All right. Okay. There we go. All right. Let's go. Okay. So got a little delay.
Because
Let's
the
go.
vast majority of offenders in our system are nonviolent offenders who within 2 years will be released from prison having served their time. Remember the statistic I shared with you earlier. The average sentence in California is 24 months.
2 years.
Let me tell you what that tells you. There are two facts you can infer from that. One, the average prisoner has been sentenced for a nonviolent offense. If it's a violent offense, he's going in for 15 to life. The second fact, they're all coming out. And we don't have meaningful criminal justice policy for dealing with that. Because frankly, we've been ostriches. We've been sitting there thinking, okay, crime is committed, catch the thief, arrest him, prosecute him, send him to jail. Good, done with that guy. He's coming out in 24 months. Because the vast majority of offenders in our system are absolutely and truly invested, I believe, in achieving public safety. And for those reasons, I would suggest to you that we cannot afford to continue what we have been doing as a state or as a country, and that we in law enforcement and government, frankly, need to better adopt the principles that you in business understand, which is let's infuse metrics into our analysis and measurement of success. And instead of relying on the fact that we judge systems based on an adherence to tradition, we will judge ourselves based on whether we are producing our intended goal, which of course for law enforcement is public safety. So for that reason, in San Francisco, we pioneered what is essentially a public-private partnership to reduce recidivism, this reoffense rate, and we call it Back on Track. Absolutely and truly invested, I believe, in achieving public safety. And for those reasons, I would suggest to you that we cannot afford to continue what we have been doing as a state or as a country, and that we in law enforcement and government, frankly, need to better adopt the principles that you in business understand. And Back on Track was born out of a belief that the approach must be to require accountability. That individual must be held accountable for the crime they committed, which is low-level sales of drugs, so we require them to plead guilty. And they must be held accountable to their family and their community, and must hold themselves accountable to their families and their communities. And so essentially what we did with this public-private partnership Back on Track is we created incentives using the carrot and stick that I have as someone who carries a big badge, which is essentially, I'm going to tell you everything your mom or your grandmom told you, but I'm also going to tell you, you better do it because otherwise I'm going to send you to jail. It's amazing how you get attention that way. And so what we did is we basically focused on this population and did it by rejecting outdated measurements of success.
That's right.
And back on...
Okay. So we're getting somewhere. Okay. Oh. All right, let's get it. More on truancy court.
There are 108 80 days in the school year. If you miss more than 10%, you or your family may find yourselves in truancy court.
The goal of truancy court is to ensure that students between the ages of 7 and 17 are in school. After all, it's the law.
If the family needs access to services, the court will make that connection.
If the student is still not attending school, the parent may receive up to a $500 citation.
But is $500 really worth your student's future? Let's do the math.
Studies show that one incident of truancy can increase the likelihood of dropping out by 7 times.
A high school dropout will earn $200,000 less than a high school graduate over his or her lifetime.
High school dropouts commit about 75% of crime. So
Wait, what was that
Judge,
again? High school dropouts do what?
commit about 75% of crime. So Judge.
Isn't that what Kamala was addressing in California? Okay, this is called accountability.
Bland. 75% of crime. So Judge Bland.
I, Judge Corey Carter, want to ask you, what is your time worth spending on?
Let's say deadbeat parents. All right, let's go. Let's keep it going. Keep the party going.
Hi, I'm Kamala Harris, the Attorney General of California. I've always believed that to keep the public safe, we must be smart on crime. As a career prosecutor and the state's top law enforcement officer, I see a direct connection between public education and public safety. And when I think about smart ways to improve public safety, it's clear to me that we must end elementary school truancy. Now let me be clear.
I agree.
We're talking about children from kindergarten to 6th grade. California's Constitution guarantees children the right to an education. Truancy is against the law.
Right.
Yet every year, hundreds of thousands of California elementary school students are truant. In fact, 40% of truant students in California are in elementary school.
That's crazy.
In some elementary schools, up to 92% of their students are truant. Last year alone, over 250,000 elementary school students missed more than 10% of the school year.
So I need what I need to know is why aren't elementary that got to be answered. Why aren't elementary kids going to school? That's what I got to figure out next.
And the effect on public safety and the economy is stark. When young children are truant, they're more likely to drop out before graduating high school and to become victims and perpetrators of crime. In addition, truancy drives huge costs to California taxpayers.
They're a burden on the government and taxpayers, right? So this is your problem too. Like the money that's to be spent towards education and this and that and this roads and highways, we're spending on deadbeat parents' problems. And this is why there's birth control options out there. If you're not ready to raise a child the correct way, you can't get your kids to go to school because you're not in a nuclear family setting, because you don't have the financial means to be able to work and spend a lot of time with your kid. You're forced to work 2 jobs like the other homeless lady. That's not where we want to be as parents.
The tune of nearly $50 billion each year. The bottom line is this: elementary school truancy is very costly. According to our research, because of truancy, California public schools lose $1.4 billion a year in funding. I'm very
$1.4 billion a year, not 10 years, in funding. $1 billion goes to these damn truant kids.
very pleased to introduce you to the Department of Justice's first report on elementary school truancy. We will issue it every year to track California's progress in stopping this crisis. Please join me in making elementary school truancy a priority. The safety and the prosperity of our state depends on it. Thank you.
Yeah, she kind of reminds me of like a black woman, Obama, as far as like intellect and charisma and articulation. She kind of reminds me like a black woman, black female Obama. In my opinion, if she want to run again, she got to change that strategy. Talking about some transgender stuff in prison and all that garbage, and drop that. That didn't work. You got blown out. You better borrow some of you dig Trump's talking points and liberalize them or some shit. But what you ran with last time, ain't nobody voting for you. And it's a shame because you're very intelligent. But we ain't doing that. You gotta be more sincere, like you are now. Take this attitude, take this sincereness, take this problem-solving ability, and bring it to the presidential race, and you'll win. But not that stuff you're trying to tie into it. Let's go.
On the issue of children who are missing 50, 60, up to 80 days of the school year, because I did an analysis of who our homicide victims were who were under the age of 25, and realized that the society and the system's only response was to prosecute those cases or lock people up instead of asking what's going on. I asked, and I learned that of the homicide victims who were under the age of 25, 94% were high school dropouts.
Okay, so the homicide victims and offenders, okay, in her area, in her district, 94% of them, the truants, these are the truants, okay, the truants that was seen early in elementary. Those kids, 94% of them end up either being at the barrel of the gun or pointing the gun. So the homicide issue is really a truant on truant crime issue. Truant on truant crime. Run it back, Kamala.
Society and the system's only response was to prosecute those cases or lock people up instead of asking what's going on. I asked, and I learned that of the homicide victims who were under the age of 25, 94% were high school dropouts. When I went over to the school district, I learned that up to 40% of the chronically and habitually truant students were elementary school students, missing up to 80 days of a 180-day school year. So I started an initiative saying this system has got to focus on putting resources into helping those parents get those kids to school every day, and we improved attendance by over 30%, which is why when I was Attorney General of California, I created one of the first in the nation bureaus of children's justice, which I named, focus on getting services to children, and in particular, poor children, children of color who was not receiving the benefit of the public services that they should receive in order to be able to live a productive life.
So that was her answer to Craig Melvin asking about how she did the truancy laws and enforcement in California. She obviously didn't pass the laws, but she enforced it and made it a particular avenue of harsh prosecution in California when she was in charge. And her answer was, yes, but we improved the stats there, and that improved people's lives overall. I think that.
I don't care what you think. That was right.
On Track was born out of a belief that the approach must be to require accountability. That individual must be held accountable for the crime.
That's right. Accountability for kids, parents, and all you niggas. And accountability, when you hold people accountable, you become a can man or can woman. Anybody can get it.
They committed, which is low-level sales of drugs, so we require them to plead guilty. And they must be held accountable to their family and their community, and must hold themselves accountable to their families and their communities. And so essentially what we did with this public-private partnership Back on Track is we created incentives using the carrot and stick that I have as someone who carries a big badge, which is essentially, I'm going to tell you everything your mom or your grandmom told you, but I'm also going to tell you, you better do it because otherwise I'm going to send you to jail. It's amazing how you get attention that way. And so what we did is we basically focused on this population and did it by rejecting outdated measurements of success. And Back on Track was born out of...
All right. So that was some of the things she tackled as Attorney General in California. She wanted to reduce like crime, you dig, that wasn't coming from criminals, so to speak. It was coming from truant kids. Now, why are truant kids problems? Because if they're not in school, where are they? They're most likely in a setting that's probably a conflict of interest to what they should be doing. Okay, they're probably picking up bad habits. They're probably hanging around older people than themselves because they were in school. They would be around people, kids who are their own age, doing kid behavior. You're not in school, you're picking up adult behavior. And what if you hang around kids who are not in school like you? Then most likely you guys are dealing with idle minds. You get into all kind of crazy stuff. You're probably unsupervised. You dig? So I thought I had I guess I didn't. All right. So let me, before I end this live, because this was a quick one, I just wanted to address truancy and recidivism. But let me put the link in just in case SMH when I hop, or if not, I'm gonna hop off. Give me a second. Let me see if SMH is around. And if he's not available to hop on, because this is something he is interested in as well. I found out. So if you want to tag, if you want to, you know, add to, he's welcome. So I spoke to IBM earlier. IBM doesn't seem interested in talking about the things he always talks about, which is Margaret Sanger and the whole pro-choice movement. So as you know, I did a live yesterday. I did a live before that. He did dealing with both because he's so-called wants to debate, but he don't have the ability to debate. He don't know what it takes. He don't even know you need a title. You dig? So he's an amateur. So I said, all right, well, look, man, let me throw out some information on the said topic. Here's a link. You can watch it, review it, and whatever you have a problem with, you can hop on with the smoke. So I did that yesterday for him. He dodged. So then today, I hit him up today, like, yo, same thing. Like, yo, let's get it. Where is he? Is he around? No. So he dodged again, which is a smart man, by the way. Because debating me is like automatic guaranteed death, right? So smart man to sell wolf tickets and then don't show up to your own show. Smart man. So I'm not going to be on this topic too much longer. So he's going to wait till I move on to want to then act like he want to talk about this. Him and DJ Focus. The extension goes to DJ Focus and anybody else out there who sides with Indigenous Black man. So this, I'm extending this to the world, his invitation to talk about Margaret Sanger and not her eugenic views, because I'm going to agree with you. Let's talk about her progressive birth control views. That is where I'm extending an open invitation to get your ass kicked. Okay, is anybody? So many people make videos online and they like to talk without any challenge or opposition. And those people videos, I was commenting on their shit. Like, hey man, let's have a discussion. And they never will. Because people are religious outside of the Abrahamic religion, outside of the spiritual African spirituality and shit. Like people are religious outside of that. Religion to me is when you're stuck to an ideology, no matter how flawed it may be, you're just sticking with it. So like the Republican Party could be looked at as a religion, gang culture, the Democratic Party, like all these things could be looked at as cancel culture, all this goofy shit. Even the red pill community can be looked at as a religion. Because even though those guys be in denial, I'll be in their spaces like when they listen, I'm the can man. So just because I agree on some Kevin Samuel points, it doesn't mean I agree on all of them. So when they say something I disagree with, I'm like, oh, I'm the first person. Type, 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 type. And of course, they look at me as like all of a sudden I'm an agent. When I'm agreeing with the other shit, I'm their brother in the struggle. But once I disagree with something, I'm an agent who sent me. So I'm like, hey man, let's have a discussion. You know, everybody looks good when they shadow boxing. You look like Muhammad Ali, but when the real Floyd Mayweather get in there, and dig, because Jabari can't be Floyd Mayweather because he takes on anybody. You dig, any topic, and he doesn't always look the best. Mayweather didn't take on anybody. Mayweather took on quality opponents. So it was quality versus quantity. So taking on everybody don't make you Floyd. It make you Chavez Jr. some shit. But if you want to be Mayweather, you're picky about your opposition. Okay? Because some folks I look up, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. All right. So when people want to guarantee ass whooping, you will come this way and get beat up. And don't worry, we only got 4 or 5 viewers, 7 viewers, 2 viewers. So nobody gonna know. I'm definitely gonna archive. But nobody gonna know you took a L. Embarrassing. So now you can take that learning lesson, go adjust your doctrine, and go on a bigger platform and debate and get stronger. But I really embarrassed a lot of people low key. A lot of those discussions are unlisted or private because I like these people, but I still got those videos. So if you guys think if you debated me, I remember I debated Sosa and No Ma'am on I forgot what it was. I still got that. I debated No Ma'am and her cousin on I think black women not getting like painkillers the way their white counterparts do. And I went to a couple rabbit holes with them, and we ended up talking about breast cancer. Then I was able to uncover, like, what is, and it was close. Then it got one sided, and but yeah. So I got to finish up on the Kemet and what I name it, Kemet and Adams. I got to finish that. So I think I'm gonna come back with that. Kemet and the Adams. I just want to finish that. I want to close that chapter because for some reason I thought it because I knew I was involved, but for some reason I thought it was my channel. I thought it was my video. I was wondering why I couldn't find it. It's on Unk's channel. It's on the I think it was the Real Black Atheist. It was like his old channel. But I ended up finding him. So I think I'm finished on that right now, and I'm gonna close that. So that's done. I'm done with the whole women's movement, birth control. I did Kamala. So yeah, I'm done here. Now I'm going to go on to Egypt and atoms. Did Egyptians really understand atoms? So which I listened to last time was more so X talking with Wujawu It's somebody else. But I was present, but I wasn't really involved. I'm very observant. I could, as much as I talk, I can be quiet just as much as I talk. So I just want to understand some of the points they made, some of the arguments being made, and so now I'm gonna play the rest of that. Then I'm gonna go and play where I was engaging in Ujjayi with myself. Same topic. So that's coming next, right now, actually. All right. First, now that's it. I'm glad it's a little topic here, but you're still studying. Yeah. So it was actually Forex I was interested in. I took a pause because I started to be like, how you want to trade stocks, you're looking for a volatile market. You're looking for a volatile stock or currency. Well, I became volatile. I became up and down. You know what I mean? So I got to first get stable and situated, which I'm becoming, which is happening now. But for that type of thing, to be into the stocks and currency and you're trading that stuff, you got to be focused, man. Tell Steph to holler. You got to be like that. So yeah, I'm still, not far from that. But I have been inactive in that though. But my boy ex architect been going hard on that, and he been calling me, telling me his success and his strategy, shit like that. So yes, it's not far. I didn't abandon it totally. I just put it on pause until I became my life is more sideways action, so I can get into a volatile market. That answer your question. Yeah. So, but anyway, if you're into it, what are you trading? I guess you're doing stocks, and how's it going for you? And how long you been doing it? How's it going for you, and how long have you been doing it? All right. But anyway, if you can't write it in this live, just subscribe. I'm gonna go live again, and you get the notification. You can catch me outside. How about that on that live? All right. Oh, thanks. Perhaps. I was looking into futures, right? Before, well, in the midst of looking trading forex, I was only doing it. I was trading forex really. I was paper trading. Okay, so I was looking into futures, right, and option trading at the same time. I'm learning that more as I'm simulating forex trades. So yeah, futures is, I think that requires a little money. I think if I can remember, and I like it because of you're not stuck with I think the day trading rule. I believe with that, and I believe you can trade like almost 24 hours. If I can't remember, but yeah. So subscribe, and we can definitely build on that. But I must end this live and go live and finish up on